Lily Go is in the wind. Repeat, Lily Go is in the wind. Until then, plan, snap, crackle, pop. Repeat, plan, snap, crackle, pop.
Since we're all gonna die, there's one more secret I feel I have to share with you. I did not care for The Godfather.
What?
Did not care for The Godfather.
How can you even say that, Dad?
Didn't like it.
Peter, it's so good. It's like the perfect movie.
This is what everyone always says. Whenever they say,
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, you never see Robert Duvall.
I know, fine actor. Did not like the movie. Why not? Couldn't get into it.
Explain yourself. What didn't you like about it?
It insists upon itself, Lois. It insists upon itself.
What does that even mean?
Because it has a valid point to make. It's insistent.
It takes forever getting in. You spend like 6.5 hours, and then I can't even finish a movie. I've never even seen the ending.
You've never seen the ending?
Well, how can you say you don't like it if you haven't even given it a chance?
I agree with Joey. It's not really fair.
I have tried on 3 separate occasions to get through it, and I get to the scene where all the guys are sitting around on the easy chairs.
Yes, it's a great scene. I love that scene.
It's noted in every annal.
I have no idea what they're talking about. It's like they're speaking a different language. That's where I lose interest in it.
They're speaking Italian.
The language they're speaking is a language of subtlety, something you don't understand.
I love the money pit. That is my answer to that statement.
Exactly.
Well, there you go.
Whatever.
I like that movie, too.
It's the Lifers Podcast with Scott Lucas, Dave Rodriguez, and Ben Reiser. And now, here's Scott, Dave, and Ben.
Gabe, how you doing? I'm doing terrible, man. Oh my God! I caught a terrible cold. Oh, this sucks. You caught a terrible cold?
Sounds like what I had right around New Year's.
I got it from you, Ben. You gave me a cold?
Probably.
That's bullshit. I knew I should have worn a mask at that show.
Yeah.
Well, you almost wore a mask. You wore a wig.
No. He saw me the night before. He was wigless.
Yeah, I know, Ben. And you were on the guest list for the second night. Here's what's great, everybody. Hi. It's been a while.
Happy New Year.
When was the last time we did this? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, if you can. If you find anything happy about this New Year, congratulations.
All right.
But here's something that's going to go on. Ben is banned from the guest list.
Banned?
Banned.
Wow.
He's banned from the guest list.
Was he?
So
Was it my fault? Was I supposed to relay the message
No.
to Skip?
We played it. Local H played in
That would have been
Kenosha
nice, yeah.
at Brat Stop. That was quite a scene at the Brat Stop. We can get more into that later.
I was there. I took advantage of the guest list at that show.
Yes, oh boy, did you take advantage of it.
But I also, excuse me one second, I also worked the merge table
The second,
free of charge.
so what? Second night, Ben, hey, I'm coming out, put me on the guest list again.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, whatever. No please, no nothing. And then I'm talking later to Gabe, and he's like, I'm like, so when's Ben showing up? He's like, Ben's not coming. What are you talking about? I go, what? Ben's not coming. He's afraid of the weather. And I'm like, well, Ben's on the guest list. Oh, he told me he wasn't coming. I'm like, why? Ben, why would you tell Gabe that you're not coming, and I put you on the guest list, and not tell me?
Because I woke up that morning, New Year's Eve.
No. All right. See, once again, you're going to talk about you. I'm asking, what made you think you could ask to be on the Local H guest list on a New Year's Eve, by the way? Biggest night of the year.
Yeah.
Take up spots on the guest list, and then not let me know that you're not coming.
Right. Well, first I let you know that I was coming. Then later on in the day,
That was the asking to be on the guest list part.
Yes.
Yes. When you say, put me on the guest list, Scott, that's when I go, oh, he's going to be there tonight. And at that point, you and I have made a contract, nay, a covenant, that if I put you on this guest list and knock other people off that spot, you are coming.
Did you knock anybody else off of that spot?
Gabe, who do we have on the show today?
Today, it's going to be all movies with Richard Shepard.
Oh, movies.
Oh, you're
Richard
so
Shepard?
excited, aren't you, Gabe?
You sounded like it.
Excited.
For you.
Who is Richard Shepard?
Who is Richard Shepard, you may ask? Gabe's going to tell us. Go on, Gabe.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's hear it.
He's got a filmography. He's got a filmography that I can look up, which I have on my screen somewhere.
You haven't? I mean, so far you haven't done anything on this episode. Why couldn't you look it up?
You caught me when I was under the weather. Anyway, the movie
We're banned from this podcast now because you were under the weather for this show.
The most talked about film that we're going to talk about is Film Geek, right? Is that what's going to happen here?
He has a movie on a documentary, an essay film, if you will, right, Ben?
Yes.
It's on HBO. It's wonderful. It's called Film Geek. I guess Ben showed it a couple of years ago at his little film festival.
At Cinematheque.
Oh, it wasn't at the film festival. It was at Cinematheque.
Yeah.
So it's an essay film, and it's very. It seems to me like when you hear these stories from Ben about his going childhood or upbringing as a film file, it seems very similar to what goes on in Richard's movie. Is that correct, Ben?
Yeah, we're like brothers from another mother. We both grew up in the 70s, seeing tons of movies in New York City.
Yes. But he doesn't just do essay films or documentaries. He's done The Matador. Have you ever seen The Matador, Gabe? With your old buddy Pierce Brosnan?
No, I did not.
How about Tom Hemingway? With your old buddy Jude Law?
No.
Huh? Nothing? The Hunting Party? Your old buddy Gere and Terrence Howard? The Linguini Incident? David Bowie? The Perfection? No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing about it is I've seen all of his movies, and I had no idea when you were saying, let's get Richard Shepard. I was like, okay, who is this, a friend of yours? I looked up his bibliography, and I was like, holy shit, I've seen every one of these movies. Bibliography? Crazy.
He's also been on the other podcast that you mostly co-host. He's been on 2 times.
2 times? Has he been on 2 times?
2 times.
So he's going to be on
it tells
the
me
show.
all I need to know about how many of the episodes you listen to that you don't appear on.
You know, I was just listening to you talk about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, okay.
So I listen to your fucking podcasts, and I go to your podcast a lot more than you go to New Year's shows.
This is the first one I've missed in 5 years.
Oh, and it was a good one. It was a beautiful
I know.
He wasn't
No
there.
one, it didn't hurt
I thought
anybody
he
as
was
much
there.
as it hurt
I
myself.
thought he was there the whole time.
Gonna hurt more in the future when you try to get on the list later.
I'm not even going to ask.
But I figured the other thing we'll do with Richard is we'll, instead of a what's the best, it's 2026, it's a new year. We'll talk about the best movies of last year because Richard is a big film fan. So was Ben, so am I. Gabe, you're out. We'll swiftly and desperately
But here, I got a
put
question.
Richard in your place.
But here's some exciting news that most people won't know.
No, hold on. Gabe's got a question. I'm still mad at you, Ben.
So when you say best films of 2025, is it the movies you saw that year, or the movies that came out that year, or how does that work?
Well, I don't really work with movies that I haven't seen. So yeah, it would have to be movies that I saw, dipshit.
Yeah, but is that the new word?
That's the new word. I'm going to say dipshit from now on. I don't care.
We'll get into that.
I changed Karen's name to dipshit. It's going to be great. Go on. I changed my name.
I'm saying if you saw the movie in 2026,
Dipshit Scott Lucas.
You see the movie January 1st? You see the movie January 1st, 2026. Can you call it the best movie of 2025? If it came out in 2025?
Well, yeah, I think you can because they do it a lot less, but they used to play this little this little game in New York and LA where they'd show a movie for the week before to qualify for the Oscars, and then they'd roll it out slowly for the rest of us plebes and unwashed masses, and we'd watch and talk about it for the next 2 months. I hate that little game.
Well, I think the other part of Gabe's question is, like, let's say a movie actually premiered in 2022, but you saw it for the first time in 2025. Can that get on your list?
That's not what he said.
I am
thought that
saying
was
that.
one of his.
I was saying it. I was saying it. Yes. Yes. I was thinking it. The concept is it the movie you
It isn't
saw?
what you were saying, it's what you were thinking.
Both. It's
Which
what I
we all
was trying
know.
to say.
Both. He
Whether or
said
not I
both.
said
He
anything.
did say it.
He is
I don't even know where
sitting
I'm
and thinking both. So anyway, we're going to do that. Wait, where are we on this show? There was an article today about deep fake AI pastors. What? And I looked at it, and I thought it was about deep fake Al Pastor. I thought it was about deep fake Al Pastor tacos. Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, deep fake Al Pastors? What is this? I was like, oh, AI pastors. Which brings me to the other
Tacos El
person.
Norte?
Well, no, not quite, but very close. The other person I'm mad at on this podcast, and that's Gabe Rodriguez.
Okay.
And I'll find some other way to get back at Gabe. But I went to a Mexican restaurant with Gabe in Chicago.
Here we go.
Gabe actually came to practice for the shows.
Nice.
I know. You're like, I know. I was at those shows. Gabe practiced? Yeah, I get it. He didn't do a whole lot of practice, but he came to practice. Afterwards, he's like, I want to go to Tacos El Norte, but I might not make it. And I go, Gabe, we're in Chicago, bro. I'll take you to the Mexican restaurants till it's coming out your ears. And he's like, okay, so we went to one. So, Ben, I know you're going to be on my side about this one. So we sit down to order. It's a huge menu, and Gabe's asking me all these questions. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? And who's this? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm answering his questions, and Gabe's looking at us like, oh, enchiladas, great. I love enchiladas. Woman comes over, and usually the waitress comes over, and you're going to get drinks. She comes to do that, and Gabe goes, yeah, I know what I want. And I'm like, wait, what? And it's a 3-page menu, front and back. I haven't had a chance to look at it. Gabe knows what he's going to get. Anytime he goes to a Mexican restaurant, it's always going to be enchiladas. It's never not going to be enchiladas. So I know what I want. Gabe doesn't even look at me like, do you know what you want, Scott? So I can say, I'm going to need a little bit more time because I was answering all your questions like you were a 4-year-old. and I'm going to eat something other than cheese. And he didn't even look at me to see if I was going to say, no, I'm not. I need a few more minutes. Enchilada suiza, and then his head down. Oh, and a Coke. And then that was it. And she's staring at me, looking, and I'm like, well, I'm not quite ready. And she just looked at me. And then Gabe looked at me. And they were both looking at me. And I go, fuck it. I guess I'll have the enchiladas and a Coke, And that's what I got. And she walked away, and, Gabe's looking down. And he looks up at me. He's like, what? What's the matter with you? Now, Ben, you realize what he did, right? What he did was a major. You don't do that to your friends, Gabe.
Listen,
you don't do that to your
teamwork.
Here's my defense on this whole thing.
What was it? Were you starving? Were you about to pass out?
I came from Mississippi. I was driving.
Oh, well,
the Mississippi bloodhound.
You weren't born in Mississippi.
No, but I left that morning from Mississippi. And you said at 6:30 in the evening, Gabe, where are you? And I said, I'm about a half hour from the city.
Rocked.
You said,
No, here's what happened. Ronnie goes, where do you think Gabe is? I was like, where in the world is Gabe? We knew you were driving. We go, Gabe, how's it going? Where are you? He goes, well, about a half an hour from the city. I'm like, oh, come on over. It wasn't a command, my friend. Listen, it was just like, hey, you want to hang out with us?
Right. And I haven't hung out with you guys in forever. So I'm like, okay.
And this is why.
I'll come into town and I'll hang, but I gotta use the bathroom and I'm starving. So I did what I would normally do. I would order my food, but here's the thing you left out.
You threw me under the bus. You left
this out. You left out the fact that there was nobody else in the restaurant.
You threw me under the burrito bus.
There was nobody else in the restaurant with us. There was
what does that have to do with anything?
The waitress had to walk all the way back to the bar and all the way up to our table. And you're going to make her go do the dumb dance and walk all the way back.
All right.
I need a few more minutes.
This was not. Oh, you know what? This was not.
Go back to the masses. I need my time.
This was not your defense 2 weeks ago. You've been thinking about this. You go, I got him. It was 6 years thinking about it.
Call him out.
That entire drive home, you're really going, I know he's going to bring this up on the podcast. You're like George Costanza going, ooh. You were thinking of the perfect comeback, right? Well, guess what? I had sex with your wife.
Oh, ew.
I forgot the second part of that joke. She died, or she whatever. I forgot.
She died of cancer. That's hilarious.
The point is, I'm
mad at you.
We've been in that restaurant before. You know what you're going to get. It's a Mexican.
No, I didn't. You knew what you were going to get, and that is the difference, and that's the problem.
Who doesn't know what they're going to get? You're going to a Mexican
homie doesn't do that to another homie.
Yeah, homie.
Wait. When you're out with
homie and bro,
when you're out with Heidi, and the waitress comes over and asks if you're ready to order, do you give her a look to see if she's ready?
When she's ready, she orders. And if she's
what does that mean?
If she's not ready, she'll look at me and I'll say,
she's just as much of a jerk to eat out with as he is.
So wait, are you saying, no, I mean, is this your point that Scott should have spoken up for himself and said, no, I'm not ready yet? It doesn't matter if Gabe is?
I did. I did. I said, I think I'm going to need a few more minutes. He goes, well, I'm ready. And then I was like... And he said it almost as like, well, I'm ready, so I must be a better person than you.
No, how much more time do you need? It's a Mexican restaurant.
That thing is 3 pages backwards and forwards. I'm not going to just get an enchilada. I don't have a go-to when I go to a Mexican restaurant. Okay?
This is the final factor in my judge's decision, which way I'm going to go. At the time of this,
guest list.
She brought the drinks, right? Oh no, she brought water.
She hadn't brought the drinks yet.
Okay,
this was the drink round.
Right,
Ben. This was the drink round.
Were there chips and salsa on the table?
There was chips and salsa.
Okay, then you should have given Scott some more time. You had some food to eat on the table. You didn't need to be so hasty. You could have enjoyed some chips and salsa while Scott figured out what he wanted to eat.
All is forgiven, Ben. Looks like I have stocked my Supreme Court with the right people. What else are we talking about here? What else is going on? We're going to talk about this fall?
Well, let's go back a night.
Are you eating, Ben?
Yeah, I got
back on my list.
This is a Christmas present. Some kind of caramel clusters.
Sounds great.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
The dipshit?
Yes, we got to get to the dipshit.
The stage dive heard around the world.
Do we know who this person is yet? Have they come forward?
The Nerdist.
I don't know who this person is. They should come forward. Also, whoever left the Kenosha Kickers jacket on stage, please come forward. You are a wonderful person. It wasn't you, was it, Ben?
No.
See, you had a chance.
Did you take the jacket home with you? Did you take it?
Gabe, you do not leave the Kenosha Kickers jacket behind. You're going to have to... I'm getting buried with that thing. But, all right, so the guy that jumped off the stage, if you're listening, please come forward. We'd love to have you on the show. I hope you're okay. Yeah, I'd love to pick this dipshit's brain. So, some guy does a bad stage dive in Kenosha, and he goes right down. Wasn't a good stage dive. I mean, his form was fine, but he didn't stick the landing. And I'm not the lifeguard, but I am the judge. So it's my job to judge every dive at one of our shows. And some of them are great. And if somebody gets some air and they get on top of the people and they get it, a 10. That does good work.
You got to be little, though.
Absolutely. That's what you do. That's part of my job. Right, Gabe? Back me up on this. You know a little bit about this, don't you?
Yes, I actually played this part in a video one time. Where you did this
of the dipshit.
Of the dipshit. I was the original dipshit.
You were the original dipshit. Yes, it was very much like Gabe at the end of the High Five Motherfucker video. So he did a Gabe. That's what's known in the industry as a Gabe. He did a Gabe. He gave right down.
I've never seen it.
And I said, "That's right, dipshit." It was perfect, actually.
I don't remember.
The guy played his part perfectly. So on Monday, I guess it was, I wake up and there we are in Stereo Gum, and it's Local H singer insults fan, or something like that. And I'm like, well, that was a weird way to put it. Yeah. Did I insult the guy? I guess I insulted him, but it was
Harmontown style, dude.
It was all
Holy
part of
shit.
what happens. First of all, Nobody invited this dipshit on our stage. How did he get on the stage in the first place?
Swabs.
You're not allowed
Scott
on the
Lucas
stage.
jib jabs.
And then this guy made a fool of himself, and I said the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't insult him. I said, "That's right, dipshit."
He actually got up, right? He didn't get hurt, like right
He's
there and then.
fine. That's the thing. At first, this thing was a nice little joke, and then you look at some of the comments, and people are like, "Oh, that's not the way it's supposed to be." To punk
You
rock
can
show.
see
And I'm
people
like,
catch
yes,
him
it
at the end.
absolutely
I
is
swear, you
supposed
can
to be. If
see.
you fuck up a stage dive at a punk rock show, you're not getting out of there with your ego intact.
That stage is pretty tall too.
It was a very tall stage. Who did that guy think he was?
Chris Farley
If it
from
was any better,
Airheads.
could have stage dive any better?
Yeah, obviously.
Another guy wrote that guy was definitely bound for the floor.
Sure. This stuff writes itself.
Right, it does.
It shows how the times have changed. In the 90s, you'd see people stage diving and crowd surfing the whole show.
Buddy, you got the goal.
Yes, times have changed, dude. Yeah, I always look at the rule. I'm like, this isn't Saturday Night Fever. You're not Danny Terrio. If everybody is moshing, then you can mosh. If everyone's climbing all over each other like it was in Columbus, then have at it. But if you are the only dipshit, but just the way they put it, the seer insults, like as if this guy was on the spectrum or something like that, you know? What if he was on the spectrum? What if I've done it again? And he wasn't wearing a football helmet, was he?
It was the delivery.
He is now. He's wearing a cage.
It wasn't a kind gesture that you were saying to him. You were like, the way you said it, it was a little rough.
That's a Scott Lucas show, though. What
It
the
was
fuck?
dry.
Get used to it.
But it was apropos, it was perfect, and it was funny. It was very funny, and the only reason, by the way, that any of these fuckheads and dipshits are talking about it is because I said, "That's right, dipshit."
Yeah,
if the guy
really.
had just
It would just be a
did a
joke.
bad stage dive, it would have been okay, but you need that extra, that little twist at the end, that cherry on top of the sundae. And that's right, dipshit is the cherry on top of the sundae.
Also, there's layers.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Nobody's talking about.
You're welcome, Internet.
He's talking about the first part of this, which is that you notice him on stage right before he's about to dive, and you say, "Born to be dumb," and you were directing that at him.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's new.
You got him before and after. I'm gonna get a sandwich out of that motherfucker.
So the guy knew when I said "born to be dumb," he should get off stage right away.
But the only way off at that point for dumbasses.
How can we get him on the show? That's the question. How do we get the dipshit?
Brought to beat on the brat. Beat on the brat. Beat on the brat with the baseball
He was
bat.
wearing
So,
a sports jersey. You know how much I love sports teams.
Edmonton.
It's hockey.
Was it
Give me
Rangers?
like hockey, right?
Was it New York Rangers?
The New York Rangers?
Rangers.
They didn't know what team it was
Stop
yet.
or stop?
The point is, if anybody knows who he is, reach out and let's see if we can get this dipshit on the show. It's a term of endearment.
Hey, everybody, it's Richard Shepard.
Hey, it's me.
See, that's how we start, Richard.
All right, I like it.
That's how it starts. And I want to start off by talking about Jean Cazal.
I will talk about him as much as you'd like, Scott.
Because I did not realize you directed that. And that documentary, I saw it, was it 2007 when that came out?
It's something like that. Right around then.
And most of those documentaries...
2009, I think, yeah.
Was it 2009?
Yeah.
Most of those documentaries about actors, they don't stay with you like this one. And it really did. I watched it again last night. It's still fucking great.
You know, John Cazal was always one of my favorite actors, and even before I even fully understood anything about him, I just always loved him. And I had done my movie The Matador, and I was sort of on a press tour, and I was like, I want to learn everything I can learn about John Cazal. And at the time, now you write his name in Google and millions of things pop up, but at the time, there was nothing. And I was like, wow, this is so weird. There's nothing about this guy who I love who was in only 5 movies, all of them nominated for Best Picture. He dated Meryl Streep, was best friends with Al Pacino. Like, he lived this incredible short life, but there was nothing on him, and I was like, someone should make a documentary about him. And then I was like, maybe that someone is me. Like,
it was you. I mean, that's the thing. And now everybody knows that. Now everyone's like, oh, you know, every movie he was in, I was nominated for an Oscar. And I'm like, yes, I do know, because I saw this movie. And that's the reason you know, too, you know.
It was great, because I got to, I mean, it really was film geek heaven to be able to talk to, you know, Sidney Lumet before he died, and Francis Coppola, and then,
before he made Megalopolis.
Megalopolis, before he made pre-Megalopolis, he still has money.
It's fine.
I got to talk to, you know, no one would talk to me until Meryl Streep agreed to talk. No one. So Sidney Lumet would, because he didn't care, and John Cazale's brother very much wanted this documentary, but I was like, we have to do a 5-minute little trailer to see if we can raise the money. And we interviewed John's brother, and we interviewed Sidney Lumet, and then we're like, but the third person, we only have money for 3 interviews, has to be Meryl Streep. And we tried Pacino, and he's like, I'll talk to you as soon as you get Meryl Streep. And we tried De Niro, same thing. Because they understood that Meryl had loved him, and in many ways was one of the great loves of certainly the greatest love of John's life, and one of the great loves of Meryl's life. And she never talked about him. And it took a year. I got rejected. Guys, you do not know how many. I tried every avenue to try to get to her, from the normal, like through agents, then through actors who might have known her, through every possible source. She just refused to talk to me. She didn't know who I was, but she just didn't want to talk about it at all. Right. And finally, John Cazale's brother said, I am going to, if this is the last thing I do, I need to get her to talk to you, because we have to do this documentary. And he tracked her down to an art opening in New York City. He had not seen her in like 25 years, and he just cornered her and was like, you have to talk to him. And then she finally agreed to talk to us, but there was a caveat, which is that she could have herself removed from the documentary if she didn't like it. And we told no one that. We didn't tell HBO who came in to finance it. We didn't tell any of the we didn't tell any. We just said Meryl Streep talked to us, and that was enough. And it was always in the back of my mind, like, what is going to happen? What fraud am I going to be? If after we spend all the money that we're going to spend making this documentary and traveling to interview all these people, she says no, but she didn't, and she liked it, and it was great.
Well, De Niro and Pacino were right, because her interview is the linchpin of that thing, and that's the thing that probably stuck with me the most, and I love watching her talk about him. And when people bring up John, I'm always like, you know, Meryl Streep fucking loved that guy, you know.
Oh, it's a great love story. John Cazale was you know, I always joke that if John Cazale had lived, his 6th movie would have been The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training, because you can't maintain that sort of, you know, 5 for 5 batting average. You just eventually strike out or
Excuse me. What are you saying about Bad News Bears and Breaking Training? It's got that hilarious scene where they won't get off the field. The umpires are chasing them around the bases.
Oh, I know that scene.
Made me laugh my ass off when I saw it.
I know that. You're softy for those Bad News Bears sequels.
Then why do you say Breaking Training?
What should I say?
Breaking Training.
I prefer Breaking Training.
Clearly. So what's the best John Cazale scene?
Excuse me. As long as we're
excuse you.
I don't know what breaking training even means. Gabe, you're a sports guy. What is breaking? Why is it called breaking training?
It's not called breaking training. It's called breaking training. What's the best John Cazale scene?
Scene?
Scene.
All right. Well, there's an easy answer to that, which is just a go-to answer, which is the scene in the boathouse in Godfather 2.
Taking care of me? You're my kid brother. You take care of me? Did you ever think about that? Did you ever once think about that? Send Fredo off to do this. Send Fredo off to do that. Let Fredo take care of some Mickey Mouse nightclub somewhere. Send Fredo to pick somebody up at the airport. I'm your older brother, Mike, and I was stepped over. It ain't the way I wanted it. I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart, and I want respect.
It's focused a bit in the documentary, and it is an extraordinary piece of acting. The other scene in Godfather 2 where they're in Cuba and he's talking to Pacino outside and they're drinking, he's drinking like a daiquiri and, he's like, why don't we have these moments together? There's so many. He was a quiet actor, so it wasn't always sometimes it's easy to say someone's best scene because they're just chewing the scenery and it's great, and you're like, I'll watch Jack Nicholson say, you can't handle the truth 5 million times, because Al just refused to overact. So a lot of his scenes are subtle, so they just hit you later. He just was one of those actors. I feel like they say Sam Rockwell or one of the people say it in the documentary, and I think it's so true. And when I direct, I notice this a lot, which is, if someone's playing a weak character, the actor wants to make sure that the audience knows that they personally are not weak.
Right.
So that there's a little bit of acting going on in the weakness. So you're watching a good performance of someone playing a weak character, but it's a performance. And John Cazale just refused to do that. He played weak people a number of times, and that he was fine with it. And in all reports, he was not a weak person. He liked women, cigars, baseball, liquor. The guy was a guy's guy from Boston, and but he didn't need to do it, and thus his truth is so much truer. You don't see him quietly telling the audience, I'm playing the weak brother, but I could be playing Michael if they had just cast me,
Right.
Not easy to be his son, Fredo. Not easy.
My mama used to tease me. She'd say, you don't belong to me. You were left on the doorstep by gypsies. You have to think it's true. You're not a gypsy. Mike, yeah. I was mad at you.
Why didn't we spend time like this before?
You want a drink, right?
Waiter!
Por favor. How do you say banana daiquiri?
Banana daiquiri.
That's it.
Uno banana daiquiri.
Well, usually we ask our guests what made them want to be a musician or a director, but having seen Film Geek, I think I already know. Was it Star Wars?
No, Apocalypse Now was the first movie that I saw that I understood what a director did, or I wanted to. I'd been told and I understood, but seeing Apocalypse Now, I was like, that is a singular vision. I was 14, so I didn't understand that so many other movies I had seen were singular visions. Apocalypse Now clearly came from Coppola. He had unbelievable collaborators and knew how to work with them. And so it's not one person's vision, it's his whole team. But it did seem like that movie could come from no one other than him in that way. And that was incredibly inspiring. I still regularly go back to that movie and go, every scene is approached in a unique, smart way, and it's so cinematic, so beautiful, so unexpected. It's a masterpiece, and that really was like, oh, not only do I like movies and kind of want to make movies, but now I understand what making movies can be. It took me, I'm never going to ever get close to what Apocalypse Now is, but it's taken me a lifetime to even get, be able to cross the street. But the fact of the matter is, yes, I would say that I love movies like Star Wars, but I loved movies as a kid. But it was until I was 14 at the New Yorker Theater on West 89th Street and Broadway, where my dad took me to see Apocalypse Now, like 5 months into its run, that I was like, oh, yeah, I want to do that.
But when you saw Jaws, it didn't hit you like this is Spielberg and this is his vision?
No, I knew Spielberg. I knew Close Encounters. Like, I was aware it was the same guy. I think... I don't know, maybe it was because they were fantasy films and Apocalypse Now wasn't. I actually don't know, but I do know that was where I segued into understanding what a director did, and then being able to look back in retrospect to all the movies that I loved before and be like, oh my God, Close Encounters is a brilliantly directed movie. Oh my God, whatever. The Sting is a really fun directed movie. Like every movie I loved as a kid. Taking a Pelham 1-2-3, I would argue, is one of the greatest thrillers ever.
Yeah.
And now I can watch it and understand it. I think I just, enjoyed watching it as a kid.
Well, there's something about Apocalypse Now. Like there's a greatness about it. There's that is it a Simpsons joke or something about Francis Ford Coppola insisting on himself with The Godfather? But Apocalypse Now really does insist on itself, and it says this is a great movie. And when you watch Film Geek and those scenes come up, it pops right out of the screen. It's just like, holy shit, that's the most beautiful shot I've ever seen. Oh my God, that's the most beautiful shot I've ever seen. It's just incredible.
And they
movie.
still are. And they still are. Yeah. I agree. I mean, making a great movie is almost impossible. Making 4 in a row like Coppola did in the 70s is like one of the greatest, if not, I know this is a normal Twitter conversation, like what's the greatest film director run, and there's a lot of arguments, but those 4, Godfather, Conversation, Godfather 2, and Apocalypse Now, pretty hard to argue with. And I think it was just a confluence of, the greatest thing that happened to Coppola was that Harvey Keitel had a heart attack. Was fired, and then he had to bring in Martin Sheen, who had a heart attack. And that was great, too, because he was able to shoot all these incredible insert shots that make the movie interesting. And I'm actually one of the very few people in the world to have seen the Harvey Keitel footage from Apocalypse Now. This was in 1991, I think. I was working I had gone to college with Roman Coppola, and he hired me to work on a low budget movie, and we were at Zoetrope, and he's like, do you want to see the Harvey Keitel footage from Apocalypse Now? And I'm like, yes, please. Who do I have to kill to see this? And what's incredible about it, and Harvey Keitel will not let it out. He wouldn't let them use it in Hearts of Darkness. He's never let it out on the internet. There's a still or two, but you can't see it. And I understand that. I mean, he was fired from the movie, which I'm sure was not one of his favorite days of his life. But Harvey Keitel is a great actor, but he can't get lost in a way that Martin Sheen does in Apocalypse Now. You lose sight of the actor, and he becomes something else. He's so unbelievably vulnerable in it. So Coppola needed to have made those 2 Godfather movies in the conversation, and be A, as rich as he was at that point, and B, as powerful as he was at that point, to basically be like, I am going to finance this movie, and I'm going to shoot for 5 weeks, and then I'm going to fire the lead actor. It's different than sort of firing Eric Stoltz from Back to the Future, which I assume was also a gigantic decision, but Universal Pictures or whoever financed the movie was writing the check. And that's a lot different than you yourself. And he had this moment, a genius moment, to realize he needed to do that. And I feel like that's what, in a way, great art comes from, is these incredible risks. And Coppola tried it again with Megalopolis, which I like more than most people, but I certainly wouldn't say is one of his greatest movies. But, his willingness to risk is, it's what I don't know. Just crossing the street is a risk,
What's the money for if you can't spend it?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Richard. This just occurred to me because...
First off, did you see the Harvey Keitel footage from Eyes Wide Shut?
No, I would like to see that. Okay. What if there was just
I thought maybe you were... Yeah.
Of Harvey Keitel cut from other movies footage? I would pay good solid money to see that.
Right, Roman Coppola turns around and goes, "Hey, now you want to watch Eyes Wide Shut?"
I got this for you.
Yeah, okay. Here's my question, though. Do you think Harvey Keitel and his most infamous scene from The Bad Lieutenant is him saying to Coppola and to Martin Sheen, "Fuck you"? See, I can go there too. I can do your Hanoi Hilton hotel scene.
Yeah. I like it. I like that theory, Ben, a lot. You know, it is a raw, incredible film moment. I would say that I think Martin Sheen's moments are not sort of the drunk in the hotel room, which is very vulnerable and obviously very
real.
Not every actor can lose themselves like that. But to me, Martin Sheen's just on the boat watching stuff. It's so small, but yet so absolutely, you know, he's poker face, but yet you're still feeling it. And the way he reads that narration with his voice and the narration itself, it's extraordinary intimacy. Literally the way the sound is recorded, the mix of that movie is incredible, but the recording of his narration is like, it's like a dream. It's like you are in his head. So I don't know, but I am now dying to see the Harvey Keitel fired from the movie.
Never get out of the boat. Absolutely goddamn right. Unless you were going all the way.
All right, so what made you want to put together Film Geek? I mean,
well, Film Geek is this autobiographical movie that I made. You know, I made it basically over COVID, and I wanted to talk about my dad and the movies and my love of movies, and I also had been put into basically a month of quarantine because I was shooting The Handmaid's Tale before there was a vaccine during COVID, and I had to fly up to Canada twice, and both times I had to go through 2 weeks of quarantine by myself. So I had a huge amount of time. So I just started writing this, and then it just kept going and becoming more and more interesting to me. But I made this movie really for me, and you know, the fact that it's, you know, that eventually people saw it and it went, you know, it played at Film Forum and it played, you know, it's now on HBO and like all these things that have happened to it were far more than I ever would have imagined, because I truly made it. Me and my buddy Adam, who I went to college with, he's an editor, we sort of just were, you know, illegally ripping movies and then cutting them together, and I was recording the narration on my iPhone and drawing these sketches of my that I thought I'd replace, but then I was like, no, it's kind of charming to not replace it, and it just became it just sort of organically came. You know, so many movies, it takes years to get them made, and you need so many other people to say yes. It's just a very difficult business. So you're used to so many no's. But if you're making a documentary basically for no money, no money other than to, you know, make sure Adam could pay his rent. But other than that, I was paying for it myself. I didn't expect to show it anywhere. So I wasn't paying for these movies. I wasn't paying for the music. I wasn't, you know, we were editing it via Zoom over, you know, Avid, and I was recording it on my iPhone. So it was very freeing, especially in the time of COVID where people weren't working that much, to be to be creative. And I was making a movie, and I made a movie, and I'm glad people who've seen it have responded to it. Like, that freedom in a business that is just so much no, like the amount of no you get, I mean, it's just overwhelming, you know. And so if you can make your own yes, so Film Geek in a weird way is much like Coppola made Megalopolis. Now he spent $120 million, and I spent $120.
No, see, it's a very inspirational movie, Ben. You listen to what he's saying.
This is a story about a boy, his dad, and the movies. This is a story of my cinema-fueled youth in New York City. My name is Richard Shepard. I grew up in the 1970s and early 80s. Back then, the city streets were dirty and tough. The subways dangerous. It was a time of crime and grime and psycho killers and Reggie Jackson and the birth of punk and the birth of hip-hop. It was a golden time. New York was my home, and even though the city could be an intimidating and steaming cesspool of anger and edge, it was all I knew, and I felt like I owned it. And movies were a large part of that ownership, maybe the biggest part. I was surrounded by film. I surrendered to it. It became a lifeline to me, a punk rock cinematic mosh pit out of the ordinary. This is the story of the movies and my youth, of the films I saw and the experiences I had watching them. It's also a story of a movie-crazed New York City, and it's a story about my father, a loving but often mysterious man who had no discernible job, went by 3 or 4 different names, and whose love of movies helped foster my own cinematic DNA.
You said it's cost no money, but there's like all that stuff that you had to clear.
Well, none of the clips cost money because it's something called fair use, and if you can use those clips, you can use the clips if you're not a narrative movie. So if I was making a narrative movie and we were watching a scene from Star Wars or Taxi Driver, I would have to pay for those clips enormously. But if it is a documentary, it's called fair use. The music's not fair use. So the version of the movie that went on HBO, I had to remix and take out a lot of the old movie scores and put it in different music, which was very frustrating. But sort of the version that Ben has seen was the sort of illegal version that I made, but it wasn't, because at the end of the day, you know, that's one of the beauties of documentaries. You know, you can do it. Certain people won't always accept it. Certain companies won't. But there's plenty of lawyers who will help you get through that system. I did. Obviously, if I had to pay for those clips, it would be. I mean, I used over 200 movies in Film Geek. So I mean, just forget about it.
It'd be like what's that? LA Plays Itself.
That's right. Well, certain movies have certain things have bigger issues. He didn't want to replace the music, so there was a lot of issues.
What was it, chicken and the egg kind of a thing where you had a bunch of ideas of what clips you wanted to use and then shaped the narration so that they had a connection to the visuals? Or was it that you did the narration and then found clips that would play along?
It started with me writing the narration at first and then finding clips but as we found ourselves in, Adam's also a film geek and he knew all these old movies too, so I could be like, my dad walked in with a brown paper bag and he's like, well, there's a scene in Thief where James Caan has a brown paper bag. So we were very in sync with that, but certain times we couldn't visualize it, so I would either rewrite it, you know, I would just rewrite it to something that I knew we would have, or not necessarily a story, but just like a word or whatever, you know. And as I was editing it, I was showing it to people, and I kept getting the same note, which is the movie has to be more personal. The movie has to be more personal. So that influenced the writing of it, and thus the editing of it. You know, I kept, everyone was saying the same thing, and I agreed with it, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to write because it was so personal. I mean, a lot of the stuff I write has personal stuff in it, of course, but this was my life. This is me talking about my dad, talking about my, you know, all these things that that pushed me as a writer and a filmmaker.
I love how it starts with, or your journey starts with King Kong. It always starts with King Kong, doesn't it?
It seems like so many people. That's so funny you brought that up, Scott, because I was just thinking that so many filmmakers of my age, that was the movie that was on TV all the time. And it was magical. Before you understood anything, I mean, you know, you watch that movie now and there's definitely things that are, you know, have not aged well and all sorts of stuff that is problematic. But the movie was made in 1933 and it's still pretty freaking extraordinary.
Right.
And when you were a kid, for me watching it, basically every other weekend on Channel 9 or whatever in New York, I saw that movie 100,000 times. And each time I'm like, I bought the making of book. I read how they did it. I just got more and more obsessed with the idea. But in the beginning, seeing it as a little tiny kid, you're just like swept away with the story, and you realize there's a much bigger world than your world. Pre-internet, pre-cable TV, pre your parents even letting you watch TV that much. Growing up in a rent-controlled apartment on the Upper West Side in New York City, I didn't know there was much of another world. I knew my world really well, but I didn't know the rest of the world. And you see a movie like that, and it's on they take a boat, there's a map to an island where there's an ape that is huge, that, there's like all of these things and then it ends up in New York, the city that I know. It like blew my mind, and I still, I'm excited just talking about it now. I mean, thus, when I saw Peter Jackson's remake of it, which was very loyal in a way to the original movie, it had no power whatsoever for me.
Well, when I look at your filmography, it's interesting because I didn't follow you as a name, as an auteur director, but when I look at the list, I'm
not
like...
an auteur director.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I didn't go, oh, he's got a new movie, I gotta go see it. But I've seen all your movies. So there's something about all of your movies that have drawn me to them.
I mean, well, thank you, first of all, and I'll buy you a beer when I meet you in person. I make movies from the movies that I want to see. Like, I just make movies that I want to see because that's all I can control. And there are people who connect to those things. I'm really proud of the stuff I do, and I've been really lucky in being able to make the movies that I've wanted. I've written and directed a number of movies. They haven't made much money, but they've been made, and they've been seen, and and that is a crazy way to make a living, and I'm lucky for it. And I've never directed. I direct for hire for TV all the time. In fact, that's what I do. But I never directed for hire for a movie ever. I just have never done it. They've all been my scripts, and that's how I will always make them. There's only been one movie I've ever tried to get ever, in my career, and so I've.
What was it?
Maybe over the beer I'll tell you. But in general, that's just not my thing. Like I'm like, the studio movies I've always been offered have never been interesting, and indie films I've been offered, I'm like, well, if I want to make a movie that makes no money, I might as well make my own movie that makes no money. And so I've just followed that, and that has been really allowed me to become a better filmmaker and allowed me to grow and develop and explore. I've made a number of movies about male friendship, and I feel like that's always an interesting topic and not always explored. And I've been able to follow the things that I want to be interested in, and that's not to say that great filmmakers can't be doing other people's work and directing. But the filmmakers I love, whether it's Alexander Payne, who tends to write almost all his movies, Chris Nolan ends up writing all his movies, obviously Wes Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson, they occasionally collaborate with people, but they are Sofia Coppola, they're trying to, Spike Lee, they're trying to make their story at that moment, whatever's interesting to them. And those are the filmmakers that I'm like, even if their film misses, I'm going to see it. I'm going to try and see it because there'll be something interesting there. And that's, so in a weird way, I've been a journeyman because a lot of the stuff I've directed for TV is anonymous. You don't know who directed that episode of whatever, but it's been incredibly gratifying because I've gotten to direct some great stuff and pay my rent, which has allowed me to make the movies I want to make. It has allowed me to say, okay, I'm going to make I'm going to make scale, and then I'm going to probably give that scale back to the movie to make whatever, Dom Hemingway, the Jude Law movie I made. We went from like a $9 million budget to like a $2 million budget in the course of like 3 weeks. And they were like, well, if you want to shoot this, no one's getting paid one penny. And so you're like, oh, I'm not going to not shoot it. I want to make it. So, I have to make my money elsewhere. But, and because I'm a writer, so I'm not beholden to having to look for a script for myself. When I'm unemployed between jobs, I'm writing all the time.
So writing a script is easier than looking for one?
Yes.
Huh.
Si, senor.
Well, you look like you could use one.
Who couldn't?
I bet 4 or 5 movie animals. They're darn tasty.
Margaritas always taste better than Mexican.
They certainly do.
Margaritas and Coke. Gracias. One for my friend over there.
No, but that's...
don't worry, I'm not trying to make a pass at you.
I'm not worried, but thank you.
You're that type of guy.
No, I mean, thank you. I don't mean to be rude.
It's all right. I'm just messing with you.
How did the re-release of the Linguini incident happen?
So, Linguini Incident is a movie I made when I was 24, and it was a disastrous everything. I had co-written a script, and we had managed to get like a great cast of early 1990 actors, from Rosanna Arquette to Marlee Matlin to Esther Ballin from Stranger Than Paradise. We somehow got David Bowie to play the lead. It was just one of those miracle situations.
How do you direct David Bowie?
Well, I'll tell you that for years I was asked, what movie would you remake if you could remake a movie? And I always answered the Linguini Incident if I knew how to direct. But the fact of the matter is that I got this incredible opportunity, and it was a disaster. The producer and I did not get along. He recut the movie. I had no money, no time. It turned into a disaster in which there was a kernel of an interesting movie there, and it just never, ever got realized. And for years, first of all, I didn't work for 2.5 years after that. It really stopped my career at a moment when everyone wanted to know who I was because I had managed to get this cast, and stopped me dead. And I suffered from it for decades, really, in that I knew that a lot of the problems on that movie were my own making. Was whether it was a hubris of believing that I knew better than people who didn't know better than me, to a horrible situation with the producer. I learned so much from it, and I value how every movie I've ever made since then, I've had final cut without having contractual final cut. Meaning that every movie that I've made is my cut. Because I knew how to get what I want in a way that was diplomatic and made everyone believe that it was the best for the film. I didn't do that with Linguini Incident. So 30 years on, I was like, there's a chance this movie's available to buy because the producer never paid the Screen Actors Guild their residuals, and the Screen Actors Guild claimed the movie. So I bought the movie from the Screen Actors Guild for about $5,000 and tracked down the negative in Europe after an extensive look for it, because I knew there was a longer version of the movie in Europe than was released in America. And I'm like, the negative's gone, the dailies are gone, but this is a 15-minute longer version of the movie. And if I transfer it into 4K, I can tighten the film up completely. I can add zooms, I can add tightened close-ups, I can pace up every scene that's lamely cut, I can add stock footage that needs to be segue between scenes, and I basically worked with a great editor, a guy who edited my movie to perfection, and I bought him a very, very, very nice bottle of scotch, and we edited it on a free Avid, and then got a lot of people to donate their time and resources to us redoing it. And as I say, the Linguini Incident was never a lost masterpiece. but now it's my not lost masterpiece. So I feel a huge sense of relief. Like, here's a movie now. It's not a great movie, but it's so much more my movie than it ever was.
Right.
So I can't undo some unfortunate writing. I can't undo some unfortunate blocking or acting or other things that you just can't undo. But I can present the best version of the movie that I can do today. So
people were excited to see it.
And I'll tell you what was also amazing was, people don't talk about this all the time, but this is a real truth. When you're making a movie, it's very hard to have a real relationship with your actors, because you can go to dinner with them, you can spend time with them, and obviously you're working with them all the time. But you are working, and 99.99% of the time that you're together, it's about the work, even if you're at dinner. Now, there's obviously variations to this rule. It's not a cut and dry rule, but it is mostly true that when you're working on a movie, you're working. Where you can become friends and celebrate the process of making the movie is at film festivals and in the release of your film. You're doing press junkets together. There's nothing more bonding than having a long, boozy lunch between doing inane interviews for 15 hours, answering the same 4 questions. So you get to go and travel the world with your film and go to Venice Film Festival or this film festival, and you basically become friends with your cast then, because you're not working. In fact, you're enjoying being a team, having to suffer through all this weird stuff, and enjoy, by the way, not all suffering. There's a lot of enjoyment. So I never got that on Linguini Incident. Period. The movie was taken away from me. It opened on the weekend of the LA riots. So it not only was not good, but no one even saw it. Was a disaster, and I never spoke to anyone again until this movie sort of happened, and I had re-engaged with Rosanna Arquette because I wanted her in a role in Girls, and I said, Rosanna, I want to do this. Do you want to help me and be part of it? Would you be into it? And she's like, I'll help you. And then Marlee Matlin and Esther Ballin, and I got to go to film festivals and screen my movie all over the country with the cast, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm actually celebrating this movie, good or bad. We're out having a long dinner, over a second bottle of wine, because we are enjoying celebrating this thing we did 30 years ago. So I don't know what you asked me, but I know that I gave you a long answer.
No, that was it. Seemed like you were able to celebrate and enjoy the movie minus the pressure. You wouldn't have been able to celebrate it at the time that way.
No, I know what the movie is now. And you know what? It got really kind reviews. I mean, there were a few people who didn't like it, but I would say that 80% of the reviews were really good. And I felt great. It was just fun. And the New York Times wrote about it. It was like, oh, here we are. Here we go. It was a good thing.
She's not in the zone.
Looking for me?
Rosanna Arquette, David Bowie, Esther Ballin, Andre Gregory, Buck Henry, and Marlee Matlin as Jeanette. The Linguini Incident. Don't try this at home.
How was your working relationship with David Bowie? Were you overwhelmed by his reputation, or were you able to sort of get past it?
David Bowie, I never worked with David Bowie when he was doing music, and I would assume that his whole, that was his business and also his passion. So I think he would have acted a certain way if we were dealing in a music project. For him, acting was something he just really loved and enjoyed. So he was just lovely from the very, very, very first minute I met him. Through the whole process, he was just happy to be there. He would never leave set. He would just sit there and talk to everyone, take photos with everyone, sign everybody's albums, talk about every other person came over and was like, I lost my virginity listening to Changes, and he'd be like, I know, everyone lost everything. He was just completely a charming man. And I'll tell you something, so the movie comes out and it's a disaster, it's been recut. I didn't speak to him. I didn't speak to anyone. Years go by, years and years and years and years. And this is a few years before he died. I'm on the street in New York, and I see him walking out of the DGA building on 57th Street. I guess he'd been at a screening, and I was just walking down the street. And I was like, David, and he looked at me, and I was like, it's Richard Shepard. And he's like, oh my God. And he came over, and I said, you know, that movie was an incredibly painful experience for me, but you were not. And he looked at me, he's like, I think of that movie as the movie where I met my wife, Iman. And I think of it only as the greatest experience of my life.
Oh, wow.
And he just walked away. And I was like, even now, he just fills me with happiness. Like, he just took a boulder off my shoulder. To have him say that he looks back on that movie with happiness when I had looked back on it with such mixed emotions was so huge. And
that's a good one.
When you see the movie, Iman has, I think, the funniest moment as a cameo in the whole movie. So, there you go.
Killer story, bro.
And there's one more thing. What? I'm going to kiss you goodnight, and I don't want you to panic.
So what are you doing right now? Where are you right now?
I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm directing an independently financed TV show, which is starring Corey Stahl and Julia Stiles, and it is 8 episodes. It's really cool, and I'm directing all 8 episodes, but we're doing it like a movie. We're block shooting it, which means we're not doing one episode and then another episode. We're shooting every location for all 8 episodes. It's tough. It's independently financed, so there's not a lot of money, but TV famously is a business where the studio and the network are giving you notes upon notes upon notes as part of the cost. That's why you get paid in TV, is to have to deal with the amount of notes you get.
That's what the money's for.
That's right. We are doing a show where we're getting less money up front, but we have true ownership of it, but we are getting no notes. So we cast who we want. The scripts are what we want. They're dressed in the way they want. I don't have to get approval of everyone's hair. I don't have to get approval of every location. It's done like an independent film. I don't even get the showrunner and I are like so in sync with things that I'm basically directing. He gives me notes every few days on things. Like it's not like a normal TV environment. So we're able to move much quicker because of that. And I think we're doing something really interesting. I think it's going to be part of what the future of TV is as the business continues to shrink and change. Here's a way, if we pull it off, in which we're making a TV show that looks and feels like a regular TV show for significantly less money. And, who doesn't want to do that? But we couldn't be doing it if we were doing it in the normal TV model. So that's what I'm doing. And along with, I'm writing a TV show, I'm writing a movie, I'm like, I'm always trying to continue to be as busy as humanly possible because it's such a strange business. You don't know where, you don't know what's coming next. You really don't.
You're a hustler, like father, like son.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we usually do this thing around here called What's the Best, but we were talking to a movie fan, you. Now, do all directors like movies as much as you? Because it seems to me that there's got to be some directors out there that don't really care about movies, right? They're just doing it for paychecks.
Well, but there's also directors who are true artists, but they're not. You're right, they're not. Like David Lynch, I don't think was a huge cinephile.
I think he was.
I mean, he was a true artist.
Yes.
In a way, maybe his lack of, and I actually don't know this, but maybe his lack of history of film or whatever gave him a freedom to go and explore things that others would. I would say this. I think most directors love movies. It got them into the business. I think I'm a pretty extreme example of a film geek, but there are a lot of us out there, as anyone who knows. I mean, Ben and I could talk about 1977 movies for probably the next 9 years. So there are plenty of people, but I love movies. I watch movies. I try to watch every. I don't try to watch every movie every year because I'm not a critic and I'm not keeping score. But I try to see everything I want to see. When I do my top 10 of the year, I want to have seen at least the movies that I think have a chance to be on the top 10.
So you have a top 10 of the year.
I do a top 10 every year. I've been doing it for like 15 years. I call it the list, and I make it seem like it's the most important document ever. It's like the Epstein files and the list are equally as important.
But you know who has you beat, Richard? I can't remember if you're friends with Daniel Waters.
Oh, well, his list is ridiculous because he basically. He sees every movie and he rates every single movie, love it or hate it. Yeah. Every movie he's seen, and I've been on his list a few times. It's terrifying where you're going to end up because he numbers them. I mean, he's fearless and obviously extremely funny and smart. No, I don't. I don't need to do a list of the things I didn't like. Right. I don't think that we should necessarily talk. I can talk about bad movies from 1970s very easily, but I don't want to talk about movies I didn't like that are being made today because, as I said, it's just a miracle any movie gets made. Yeah. So, short of something that just clearly seems like a money grab and no one gives a shit about it, I tend to not dwell on the negative. But I think this was a pretty good movie year. I'm interested in hearing what your guys' favorite movie was. Just as can you each tell me your favorite movie, or do you want to wait till the end? How do you want to do it?
Should we wait? I don't know what I can do. I'm wondering about this all day. I feel like all of our favorite movie this year is going to be the same one, right?
Well, I don't know if Richard's number one is, but
okay. Well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should do the old. I know you're a Siskel Ebert fan. Maybe we should do it the way they used to, where each of us will pick 3 movies from our list to talk about.
Great.
We'll go around the table, and then at the end we'll unveil our list. And as each of us are talking about that, we can say that's on my list too, Roger, or something like that.
Movies in 2025.
All right, I'm going second.
Okay, so Ben, you're gonna go first.
All right. Well, I will then get the. What is it? The elephant in the room. Yeah, well, because I think Scott and I feel like this. I know this is my favorite movie, if for no other reason. This is a pretty easy metric, really. How many times did I see a movie in a movie theater in one year? And I saw this 7 times.
Wow.
And that's Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another.
Rise and shine.
Hi. What's up? What's up, homie? It's me again, Bob Ferguson. I don't know if you remember, but we spoke earlier on the phone. I think we had a little misunderstanding. I think we got off on the wrong foot. I was trying to get the rendezvous point for my daughter,
right.
Willa.
You can't answer what time it is. I cannot give you the rendezvous point. This is a key tenet of the rebellion. I'm surprised you can't name it. I don't know if you are who you say you are.
Okay. Well, look, maybe I can give you some information, and then you give me some information. All right, we'll just share a little information. My name is Bob Ferguson. I don't know if you've ever heard of me. All right, I was a part of French 75 for years and years. All right, they used to call me Ghetto Pat, Rocket Man, something like that. Only problem is I fried my brain since then, man. I have abused drugs and alcohol for the past 30 years, man. I'm a drug and alcohol lover, and I cannot remember for the life of me or the life of my only child the answer to your question. What time is it?
8:15. Now, which I just think has everything a movie could give.
Well, it helps that it came out in all those different formats. Did you get to see it in VistaVision?
No.
Well, I did. What about you, Richard? Did you see it in VistaVision?
I did not. I very much liked it. It is. I'm interested, Ben, why you saw it 7 times.
But on acid.
I just thought it was. about something, but also just about having fun. Like, I just smiled from beginning to end, and yet it was a deep movie. The ending of that movie is extraordinarily powerful, and you know, it had great Benicio del Toro, my favorite performance of the year, perhaps, and just it was just, you know, the cinematography, the acting, the writing, and the thought-provokingness of it in a world that we live in now really, you know, it counts for something without it feeling like it was hammering anything up.
Right. And I think a lot of people are sort of like attacking it as being, I've heard this a lot, like it's shallow. Oh, it's fun, but shallow. And it's like, is it?
I heard it.
I
They
totally
called it
disagree
Star
with that.
Wars.
And I also think it's doing a lot of, it's not just a straight ahead action movie. Have you ever seen an action movie that has a soundtrack like that? I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson's idea of a set piece is completely different than like Michael Bay's idea of a set piece or any other action director on the planet's idea of a set piece.
It had great action in it, but it was also just like it was a story that kept on giving. You know, everything was interesting. You know, it was, whether you were in Sean Penn's story, whether you were in, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter's story, like there was just so many different things going on that was just so interesting.
Well,
and I don't think it was shallow at all, personally.
I was, you know, thinking about a movie you love, Richard, Winter Kills, and your love of its mix of tones, and I think that what I really think I love most of all about this movie is its mix of all of these kind of opposites. You know, it's a comedy, it's a thriller, it's an action movie, it's a family drama, but it's got these great sort of oversized, almost operatic performances from its main stars who are like big movie stars, but they're existing in scenes with non-actors or actors you've never seen before, giving very earthbound, completely sort of realistic performances, and those things work perfectly. And it's got this discordant piano stuff and this very beautiful lush electronic stuff, and those two ends of the spectrum in the extremes for the music work beautifully hand in hand. You know, it's got all this shit is just balanced out in a way, and it sort of gives you every genre and every kind of performance, every kind of a plot, and it all just somehow magically, to me at least, feels, you know, a perfect as one piece. I do hear people complain about that. Yeah, but
and it's got that acoustic guitar bit that's like right out of Running on Empty.
Right.
Well, I actually I tweeted about, I don't think we can tweet anymore, but whatever the hell it is. I mentioned that at the end of the movie they use American Girl, and you know, for me that song is always tied to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I love that song. It's a great song.
Right.
But to me, it's like
stole it back.
Silence of the Lambs, which is one of the greatest movies ever made. But, you know, she's listening to that song, singing along with that song right before she's kidnapped, and it always stuck with me.
Always.
And the end of this movie uses that song, and it, first of all, I think it just totally, that's what a great movie can do, which is to take something that is so ingrained, like that song is, that Silence of the Lamb. No, it is now one battle after another, and it is the most emotional thing, like, because she is taking up the fight. She is in America. That is what America is, which is you have to fight the good fight, you know, and she's ready to fight the good fight, and that is the most American thing you can do in a fractured moment. And I feel like that's why that ending really, really worked for me.
The first 45 minutes of it, though, that little mini movie that starts it off, it might be the most exciting thing that I've seen all year. It reminds me of the beginning of The Departed, where it's just, it moves, and then it's like, all right, now we're going to start the movie, you know.
Well, Paul Thomas Anderson clearly wanted to prove something to somebody.
Yes, yeah.
And whatever it wanted to prove, he proved it.
He proved it, right. All right, Richard, what's a movie from your list that you want to talk about?
Okay, I'm going to talk about, should I talk about a movie that everyone's going to have heard of, or maybe a more obscure movie? What do you think?
Either one.
I'm going to talk about a French movie called Solomon's Story.
Je t'ai donné le code pour que tu travailles. Il faut travailler, frérot. On n'est pas venu en héros pour jouer. Et le tour, toi, c'est pas Emmanuel, toi. Effectivement, oui. Voilà, c'est pas lui. Solomon.
She doesn't dye her hair in the game. Lauren O'Neill's got it.
Oh, yeah. We showed it at this year's Wisconsin Film.
Did you like it, Ben?
I loved it.
So it's a small movie, but it's about this African guy who's in Paris illegally, and he's trying to get his paperwork to stay there. And he's a delivery guy, and he's being fucked over by the people who are hiring him because he can't really do it, so he's sort of doing it illegally, but he has to split his money with them. And it is a tense, emotionally valid movie that I just, from moment one, I was in it, and I was in through the whole film. And the lead guy in it, whose name is Abu Sangari, is extraordinary, like an incredible lead performance. And I don't know, I love to be surprised in a movie, and movies that I've thought about all year. So, by the way, I just want to say that I've picked a movie that most people haven't even heard of, but it doesn't mean that all of my taste immediately just falls into that. It's just, why not talk about a movie that people may not have heard of? If you're looking for a thriller, I love a thriller. And that's a thriller. That movie, it's not like a let's rob a bank thriller, but it's a thriller.
Yeah, I think most of the movies on my list are thrillers, and here's one. It's Weapons from Zach Kreger.
This is a true story that happened right here in my town. A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story, but you're not going to find it in the news.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out. No one forced them. Or do you see that I don't? Show me. Where did you go?
There's something very, very wrong going on.
And I really love it, not just as a horror film or a genre film. I think just as a straight-up movie, it is really, really brilliant. And it's almost like it's this thing that Kreger seems to do, and he did it with Barbarian. It's like this: what would happen if a less verbose Tarantino made a horror film? And it would be fucking awesome, I guess, you know. And this time it almost seems like he's almost doing a Magnolia thing.
He says he's doing a Magnolia thing.
Did he? Did he finally come out and say that?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, yeah.
The guy can direct in such a very, like, you immediately are like, whatever this guy's doing, I want to continue to see what he's doing, because he really, like, just the opening few minutes of that movie, you are in. And it looks
as soon as that George Harrison song starts, you're like, I'm totally in for whatever this movie has.
Talk about a song getting owned by a movie that will forever now be part of Weapons.
Yes, and you look at it, it's stunningly photographed. I feel like I love that movie. I felt a little disappointed at the end, but that's just me.
I totally love the ending, because it gets really scary at the end. It's not just this, clever, fun movie. It is, but it really does get horrifically scary. And then that ending, where it's something like a cross between Dawn of the Dead and the Red Balloon, where just all these kids starts running. I just loved it. I thought it was the perfect ending. And you're not the only one I've heard have a problem with that ending, but I really, really love it.
Well, it wasn't the specific ending. It was more just like, I felt like it, for me, it petered out a little bit in the third act. I think maybe because the bar had been, it was just, another movie in which I had a smile on my face the entire time. I mean, I love it when great filmmakers are making a great movie, whether it's flawed or not, and I just am like, take me where you want to go.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going to go, but take me there. I'm ready to go.
Here's what I think about the third act and where this movie winds up going, is that I think it's kind of similar to what he does in Barbarian, where he's kind of using the rules of horror movies that we've all seen against us. Like, if you've seen horror movies, these movies are more fucked up because of what you bring to the table. And so in Barbarian, the whole first act is like a con job, because you think, oh, this guy, there's something wrong with this guy. And
the guy who plays Pennywise in It is going to be the guy, yeah.
Right. And then Weapons, all the sort of hype leading up to it and the trailer and stuff, it really makes you think it's a different kind of a horror movie. And when it gets revealed what the actual horror, who the villain is, that this isn't a more sort of like, I don't know, M. Night Shyamalan kind of like more like alien conspiracy kind of thing, which is the vibe I got from the limited amount of stuff I let myself see before it.
Are you talking about Begonia again? What's happening here?
Yes. But what it turns out to be, I was kind of like delighted that it turned out to be this sort of much more old-fashioned kind of, that it wasn't a political, although it has all this cool stuff in it. And when you hear him talk about what his inspirations for the movie are, it's very interesting, because it's really not anything having to do with what's on screen. It's just sort of the feeling behind it. But I would say that the best thing for me about Weapons, which is my second favorite movie of the year, is that it pays attention in a horror movie to performances, to getting actors and writing characters that are much more than stock horror. And I think that's what 98% of horror movies get wrong, is they don't...
Right. Best portrayal of a meth head I've ever seen.
They're not trying to engage you in any unique way, whereas these are all fully fleshed out performances.
Benedict Wong's performance in it was one of my favorite of the year. The whole... I agree with you completely. It really, really... all that cast was just... And it was just continued to be surprising throughout. Mm-hmm. Like, you just didn't quite know where it was going to go. I don't know. Again, I wasn't in my top 15, but I liked it a lot.
Best performance, Austin Abrams as the junkie.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming out of that guy. Absolutely incredible.
Great.
Ben, what's the next movie you want to talk about?
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'm going to jump into one that I actually saw in the fall, but just recently got released wide. So I don't know. Scott, I think you saw it this year, so it's not on your list. And Richard, I don't know if you've seen this, but this movie, The Plague, which made it to my top 10 because I saw it.
No, I haven't seen it.
So what's with
Me neither. I had to search forever to find that one.
It's not playing though. It's like contagious, incredibly, but only through touch. So if you're exposed, then man, you just gotta wash yourself like that. Turns your brain to baby food. No brain, no nothing.
Just a terrific coming of age kind of Lord of the Flies in a water polo summer camp. It's crossed with like David Cronenberg body horror, but does and there's lots of great things about this movie. I don't want to spoil it, but if it's still in theater, I think it might still be in theaters. If you're listening to this, run out and see it.
It just opened wide. It just opened here in Chicago on Friday.
It's a beautiful looking film, but I would say the thing that's most exciting to me about it is got a cast full of 12 and 13-year-old boys, and they're all giving great performances, and it's so rare. I can't even remember the last time I saw like a good child. Well, maybe Weapons. I like the kid in Weapons, but before this year, this hasn't been a golden age of child acting since maybe, I don't know, Little Rascals. Bad News Bears. Maybe that was the last kid-centric movie that I dug all.
Florida Project.
Florida Project. Great. It's great too. You're right. They come along every once in a while, and this is one of them. Where there's only one adult in the movie. Joel Edgerton has a
Joel Edgerton is very, very good in it as the only adult in sight.
But these kids carry this movie. They're just.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
And of course, like a lot of credit has to go, I am sure, to the director, who because he's hiring kids doesn't have to hire anyone famous, so he's in a position where it's all him or her to make that decision. Like, no one's like, you need this name in order to finance the movie. Sure. It's like, no. And so he had his pick, however much time and money he had. And for you to say that the whole cast, in which it's a movie about a kids water polo team, clearly is a big cast, and they're all great. That's exciting. First of all, I'm sure for those young actors, but also that bodes well for that director. You know what I mean? Because
I can't wait to see what this guy's going to do in the future.
Clearly can do it, because directing kids is tough, and directing a lot of kids is really tough, especially if they're 12 or 13, because they're 12 or 13. Their attention, they're just to get it's hard to get adults to focus on a film set. Right. But whenever I have a scene with 5 actors, I'm like, oh, just getting through blocking in the morning, like just getting them to focus. They're all talking and catching up, and what did you do? And are we going to dinner tomorrow? And whatever. And then you're like, just rehearse the scene, and then they do, and they're amazing. But just it's herding cows, and so I can only imagine, you've got a bunch of kids.
This kid who plays the lead asshole, the lead bully, K.O. Martin, I believe his name is. I think. I can't remember the last time I wanted to punch a kid in the face so hard. I think we're gonna be seeing something out of this guy pretty soon.
You guys,
the good son.
Just go back to
the last time you wanted to punch a kid. The good son.
Weapons. You prefer weapons to Sinners?
I didn't like Sinners.
I did. Yeah, very much.
Interesting. So I'm going to talk about this movie that most likely is going to win the best international film, which is Just an Accident.
Yes.
تقابل ضعف اینجا بیارید مطمئنی خودشه؟
فقط میخوام کمکشون کنی. افتادم تو شک، شما ببینید خودشه یا نه.
من یک تا نفهمی خودشه یا نه، دست بردار نیستم.
بریم بالا.
Which is an Iranian thriller that is also kind of funny. It was shot secretly in Iran, and it is completely surprising throughout. And for a movie in which I laughed a lot, it's also incredibly grounded and tense. And at the last 20 minutes of the movie is the best last 20 minutes of any movie this year, in my opinion, and it is extraordinary. And it's one of those movies where you're like, you have to see this movie. I've said it to so many people, and people are like, oh, I've heard it's great. I'm like, see it, because it is great. And it is, there's nothing sort of, it's a very simple idea. A woman recognizes someone, a guy recognizes someone and believes that this is the person who tortured him when he was held in Iranian prison. And
Death of the Maiden.
It's very Death of the Maiden, and it works for me. I just loved it, and I thought it was, I didn't know where it was going. I love a movie where I don't know where it's going, and I just didn't know where it was going.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it yet, so.
Well, I'm not telling you where it goes. I'm just saying,
don't tell me where it goes.
But it really works.
Trying to cut you off at the pass.
And I know, Scott. I'll just say I thought it was a perfect movie and a perfect ending. Just the ending alone is really, you can't figure out how will this movie end, and then it ends and you're like, well, how could it have ended any other way?
Oh, man.
Yeah. And also, just like the filmmaker had been in prison in Iran for criticizing the government, then writes a script criticizing the government, doesn't get approval because he knows that they won't give it to him, and then shoots it illegally, having just been in prison in Tehran. I mean, holy cow!
That's an artist.
That is an art. I mean, he's and pulls it off. That makes a great movie. Not like there's one thing if you do that and then you're making some polemic boring thing, that was not the case.
Well, and the thing is, the movies that he has made in exile or in secret in the last 5 or 10 years are more like esoteric and sort of essayistic and experimental. And so to see him come out with, this is really a movie. This is an entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like a Hitchcockian thriller. And very funny, as you say. So for him to make really a mainstream entertainment that also is very, sharply political is just amazing.
No, this is I think this is a trend we're noticing, which is a little bit of filmmakers who have made certain type of movies like Paul Thomas Anderson and in this case, showing off a little bit while also making maybe their most accessible movie in a long time, but still staying very true to who they are as filmmakers. I can do that. Oh, you want me to make a commercial movie? Here it is. I'll make it for you. Look, I made it. I can do that too.
Right. I'm going to talk about another movie directed by a comedian, Sorry Baby, directed and starring
It's so good. I haven't.
Eva Victor.
You miss me, even though you're married. It's so grown up. It's so grown up. School was grad school was I liked it here, though. Are you sure?
What are you up to this fine evening?
I was wondering, do you have, stuff that makes a fire?
Why do you need it?
My friends and I were gonna make, hot dogs.
Hot dog sounds good.
I'm sorry, we only bought 2 hot dogs.
It's very, very funny. It's a really funny movie about sexual assault. You know how those go. And it's got this really... The first time I saw it, I was like, what is this tone? It's so quiet and silent, almost like they did something with the sound where they took away all the background noise, and the way that the movie is put together, and the way, I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying it's about a sexual assault, but the way that is presented is really amazing, and I've never seen it done that way before. Lucas Hedges is in it, and he's always welcome, and there's a great scene with John Carroll Lynch. It's a movie that I can see watching over and over and over, like the kind of movie that you'd have on in the background, on a rainy day.
Yeah,
and this is a pure independent film, right? I mean, it's a tiny movie, right?
Yeah,
it's an A24 release.
Written and directed and starring Eva Victor.
Right.
I've seen it twice already, once in the theater and once at home on HBO. And
so you're basically saying it's not worth seeing 7 times, like One Battle After Another.
You can see it in this division.
In a theater.
I can't remember seeing a movie more than 2 or 3 times in a theater since I was a kid, where I used to see every movie at least 2 or 3 times in a theater. I don't know what happened with One Battle. It was the different formats, but it was also, I just loved it so much, and I kept seeing it with different people. I kept seeing it by myself,
me
and
too.
my mom was in town. Mom, you got to come see this movie.
Right.
And then I went to New York, and my daughter was there, and she had to say, "Oh, okay, you got to come to the movie." So I kept dragging people to the movie. That's my excuse.
My excuse was the New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, you want to share a great movie with someone.
Right.
I get that. 7 times, though, jeez.
Sometimes a movie comes along, a few years ago, it was Fury with
7 times.
Sometimes a movie comes along, and you just can't seeing anything else. You mean to go see something else. You have a ticket for another movie, and as you walk into that other movie, you go, Fury Road is playing over here, or One Battle After Another is playing over here. Why don't I just do that? And that's what One Battle After Another was like.
I did. I saw 12 films in 3 days at the Chicago International Film Festival, but they were playing in a multiplex with One Battle After Another. And in between seeing 4 movies a day, every one of my half an hour or longer breaks that I had, I would go into one battle and watch them.
Right. Yeah. Well, that doesn't count.
No.
That doesn't count. So
that doesn't count on my 7. It's 7 plus.
Even showing The Verdict, and this is back when movies would play for 6 months in a movie theater.
Sure.
And I saw the last 10 minutes of The Verdict more than I've seen any movie ever, including my own, even with months of editing. I am telling you, I saw that ending because I always had to be in the theater 10 minutes before it ended, and man, oh man, it's every inch of it I've seen more times. And thank God it was good. But
that last 10 minutes includes the punch?
The last 10 minutes, well, that's interesting. I don't know.
I have a similar experience with Fatal Attraction. It never stopped playing. It went on and on and on.
Well, the joke I tell is that there was a movie theater in New York when I was a kid called the 68th Street Playhouse, and it had one screen, one little movie theater, and it played Das Boot, the Wolfgang Petersen movie, from the beginning of sophomore year to the end of junior year. It played for 2 years, and I just think about the projectionist at that theater. He just had this one movie 3 times a day, 4 times a day for 2 years. He can't even look in the second theater where, maybe they're playing something in the other theater. Nope.
That's amazing. Watch this! All right. Ben, you want to talk about one more and then we'll unveil the 10?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with Eddington.
Sure.
I got a call into the office about a disturbance. Last night, a family was murdered.
Shooters on charitable ground. This is a Pueblo case.
This is our crime scene. Get out of here. I'm running from there.
You can't keep your own office going, but you're going to run mine. They're your streets to keep safe.
Ted Garcia. The man is. Simple.
Can we shut this bitch up?
Okay, nice one, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I had mixed expectations. I'd heard not good things about it from people who'd seen it before me, and I was worried about the whole sort of COVID-ness of it and whether it was like, old news or too on the nose. But about halfway through, I think even before, there's one major twist. Maybe it's 2/3 of the way through, or is it halfway through in this movie? But I started realizing, this is a Jim Thompson novel, like brought into modern day times, and what that does to a Jim Thompson novel is that, like, the unreliable, insane narrator at the heart of it fits right into society now. It's not, there's no real issue. They really are amongst their friends at this point.
Their own.
And so I love it for that. I think it's a wild movie. It's a shocking movie. It's a surprising movie. I've liked the Ari Aster's movies. I've liked each one more than the one before it. I know that's not a popular.
What?
Opinion. Most people are like Hereditary, and then it's like a steady descent. But I'm the opposite way. And I like Hereditary, but I just think he keeps building on that and getting better.
This is one of the biggest surprises for me this year, because I'm not I'm one of the few people who didn't love Hereditary.
What?
Sorry, and his last movie didn't quite do it for me, and I've seen all of them, and I've always respected him as a filmmaker, but so I didn't know what I was going to think of this. I also was a little scared about the COVID plot and all of this, and it just hits you. It's really funny and weird and captivating. Joaquin Phoenix, as always, he's such a good actor and surprising. And how do you make a movie dealing with the weirdness in America right now? And this was a very interesting way of doing it, because it was attacking it in a way that we can all relate to in some level, which is, whatever your political beliefs are, wherever you stand, you live through a period where some people were wearing masks, some people weren't wearing masks, sometimes you wore a mask, sometimes you didn't, you made some weird choices, things happened, and to use that as a catalyst for looking at maybe the weirdness and the eccentricity of just everyday folks dealing with that stuff. It really connected to me, and I loved it. I thought it was just a really well made. I thought it was really well made and well put together. And again, it didn't do much business, at all, I don't think. But that shouldn't take away from the idea that he took a really big swing, and I think hit the ball hard.
I love this, and I saw it on
hit the wall hard.
Because
yes, he did.
Because I do love Hereditary so much. It was the first movie in a long time that scared me. So I was like, I never thought I could be scared again like that. And then I saw that movie, I was like, oh, this guy can do whatever he wants, and so
isn't that great? I love
it. Is
I love it. It so goes back to what you love about movies,
right?
Like you're an adult, you know where you are, you know what's going on. You know you can leave at any second. You know you can check your text messages. You know everything. And yet, if a movie's really connecting with you, it can scare you, and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm being scared! How great is this?"
But you're also like, I'm an adult. I don't get scared anymore.
Exactly.
And, it's just like, and I love it. So, yeah, I like this movie a lot.
The last one I'll talk about is, I think, a controversial one, but maybe you all love it. The Testament of Anne Lee.
Oh, you've seen it.
For those new here who are unaccustomed to a woman preacher, come nearer to me.
Christ's Spirit first appeared as a man, but has reappeared to fulfill the promise of the second coming as a woman.
Have you seen it, Ben?
No. It hasn't arrived in my town yet.
It was directed by Mona Fastwood, who co-wrote The Brutalist, and her husband or partner Brady Corbet co-wrote this. And much like The Brutalist, it's deeply ambitious, it's flawed, but I can't stop thinking about it.
Wow.
It is just, I thought it was going to be like paint drying. I thought like everything about it's about the creation of the Shakers, and the I was like, oh my god, who wants to watch this? And then I heard there was some musical numbers in it. I'm like, oh my god, everything about it sounded like I was gonna kill myself.
It sounds to me like Lars von Trier,
well, there's a little of that, but it's so weirdly entertaining, much like The Brutalist. The Brutalist is a weirdly entertaining movie. You know, it is entertaining, and she does a great job. It's fascinating. It's epic. The musical dance numbers are so organic. They may be the most organic musical numbers I've ever seen in a movie. Right. They just feel absolutely correct, and I don't know. It's probably a little long. Whatever. Amanda Seyfried is great in it.
Yeah, she's having a moment, right?
She's so good. Yeah. She's so good. She was so great in The Dropout, and she's so great in this. Yeah, but I think you guys are gonna. Text me after you see it, because I'm interested in what you guys think, because it's not for everybody, but simply. If you're into something, if you just want to find something different that works, that entertaining, and yet it's just really great. I put it near the bottom of my top 10, and I actually regret it.
Yeah.
Because I think about that movie on a daily basis.
There's the dancing scene in the trailer, and it reminds me of the roller skating dancing scene in Heaven's Gate. I'm like, oh, this looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, one more from me real quick, and then we'll unveil the top 10s. Woo! So here's a movie that doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of year-end love, Mickey 17.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were thinking at this point, what have I done? Nothing was working out, and I wanted to get off of her.
You're applying to be an expendable?
Yeah.
You read through the whole application.
Yeah, I should have read through it.
Once you die, we print a new version of your body.
They made me work my ass off on one mission after another.
Every time you die, we learn something new, and humanity moves forward.
Oh, wait! He's alive! It's fine.
It was weird, because I was like, maybe I don't want to watch these dystopian movies anymore. We're a little too close to this.
Right.
We're living in a dystopia right now. I don't really want to watch this anymore. And then by the end of it, I was so energized and pumped, and it was just like that feeling of those anti-Nazi movies that Warner Brothers put out. And this is a Warner Brothers movie, and it just felt like they were honoring that tradition that Warner Brothers had. And I'm walking out of the theater, I was just so, it's like, yes, I was energized, and I think it's a really great, fun and a great movie.
Why do you think, so I haven't seen it, and I want to ask you a question. So I felt like the buzz on that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
I felt like the trailer wasn't great. I felt, for me, I was like, oh, do I want to see a not great dystopian movie?
Right.
In Robert, something, and then when it just bombed, and it was dumped in January, everything about it was filled with in a weird way, it was marketed to the point where it was asking you to not see it. It was like, we're going to build the worst buzz possible for a film, so you won't see it. And it's so interesting. I love that you love it, because I'm like, well, maybe it's just great and everyone's fucking wrong. What happened?
I love it. It looks like a Luc Besson movie, and that's not something I'm going to run out to see.
I love that Luc Besson movie, though, Valerian. So.
That's just not or what's the Delicatessen guys? It's just not. It's not the kind of thing that I want to see. But this felt like it was full of rage, and it's just, and you could feel like it was all stemming from Trump sort of dismissing Parasite and saying, yeah, American movies, what happened to Gone with the Wind? Who cares about Parasite? And Bong Joon-ho was just like, all right, motherfucker, I'm going to make this movie. Right. And it's a brutal takedown of Trump. And it's one of the best uses of Mark Ruffalo I've ever seen. I love the fact that people are starting to see this is the way you use Mark Ruffalo. Cast him as a piece of shit is great.
He's still good at important things.
He's fantastic.
Right.
And he's great in this. Richard, you should see it. It really is great.
I'm going to see it. You guys have psyched me up for a few movies I haven't seen, so I'm going to watch them.
Hey, I realized the only reason it's not on my top 10 is that I saw it too long ago and I never got back. I keep seeing it on HBO that it's there, and I'm like, oh, I should watch this again, and not doing it. And so it just kind of went to my back of my mind. But it really is good, much better than I thought it would be. It's messy in a way that I like. It's not quite coherent. It's sort of you can tell that there was a lot of probably problems in post-production. They weren't really sure how to edit it, but that doesn't bother me. It actually makes, I think, the movie more fun, because it's sort of it feels more handcrafted and sort of seat of your pants. But I think Pattinson, I think, is terrific in it.
He's very good.
Yeah. And I always love Ruffalo, but I absolutely love this modern day Ruffalo. Pre-Task, which was a step backwards as far as seriousness, but yeah.
Oh, I like Task. All right, so I'll go first with my top 10. So number 10 for me is 1-to-1 John and Yoko. I know, I thought about this, and I'm probably going to regret not putting sentimental value on here. And do we really need another Beatles documentary? But I saw this a couple of weeks ago, and it really knocked me out. And to quote John Lennon when he was talking about revolution, it's very au courant and depressingly so. And basically, the idea is that all John Lennon did was watch TV. And so there's a lot of TV clips, and by all that stuff that they were watching on TV, you see that the moment we're living in now is exactly the moment that he was living in then. Exactly. And it's a really wonderful use of the Beatles. Number 9 is The Secret Agent, directed by Cleber Mandafilla. How do you say that?
It's sad. I've actually spoken to this guy, so I really should be able to say his name. But yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try one again. Cleber Mendoza Filho.
I think that's pretty good.
Okay, let's stick with that one. Thank you. Thank you. Number 8, Friendship, the comedy with Tim Robinson.
So funny.
Very good. And I haven't really watched either of Tim Robinson's shows.
Oh, you should.
I should, based on this movie.
The Detroiters, which is his first thing with Sam Brown. Is that his name?
What?
That's the best.
Yeah, I love this, and a great acid trip. 7, Eddington. 6, Bring Her Back, from Danny and Michael Philippou. I love this movie. It was the first movie I saw after my daughter was born, and it was the wrong movie to see after your daughter was born. It really messed me up. Number 5, Sorry Baby. Number 4, Mickey 17. And here's where we get into what everybody else is going to go with. Number 3, Marty Supreme. Number 2, Weapons. And number 1, One Battle After Another. No surprises at the top.
Pretty good list, though. You know, I love a list where you have just some movies you weren't expecting to hear, and yet, you know, this is what makes movie going so great. You know what I mean? Like, there are some we can all agree on, some we don't all have to agree on, or I want to see a number of those movies I haven't seen. I'm going to watch Sorry Baby as soon as this is over.
Oh, well, great.
Do it. Text us afterwards. Okay, so I put this list in alphabetical order. I didn't force myself to do a 1 through 10. I just
that is so weak, Ben.
But I'm going to give you my. I'm going to start. But I'll start with my top 3. I know my. Excuse me. Calm down. I know my top 3. So definitely One Battle After Another, followed by Weapons, followed by Was Just an Accident. Okay, and my other 7, Bring Her Back. I also was like, boy, this movie stuck with me, and watched it a second time, and it was just as creepy, if not creepier, than the first time. Dangerous Animals.
Yeah.
A shark, a serial killer who works with sharks.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Australian.
One of the
serial
dumbest,
killer.
the greatest B movie. I mean, well, it's how can you miss a serial killer who works with sharks?
Yeah.
End of story.
It should be a foolproof. Yeah. It should be.
I got a couple of Sheilas down there. No, my Australian don't do it.
And the lead. Australian. This guy has another movie too, which is on Shudder. They're both on Shudder now. I can't remember the name of his first. Maybe he's got 2 other horror movies. He's got another crazy horror movie. I don't remember what it's called, but almost as good as this one. Eddington. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl. Has anyone seen this one?
No, I haven't.
Tried.
Terrific. Amazing movie that we showed at Cinematheque earlier.
I got the wrong subtitles.
African film about a woman who discovers her uncle dead on the side of the road. Just driving home one night, she finds his body. And then it's all about the family and the funeral and the things that the family knows about this uncle that they don't want to talk about. It's great. It's kind of like a comedy of manners, but also a sort of serious and just a wonderful deep dive into this particular African culture. Becoming a Guinea Fowl, fantastic movie. The Plague, which I talked about. Weapons, which I talked to. Oh, I already even gave you that. Predator Badlands. I'm here for the Dan Trachtenberg era of Predator movies. The animated thing that he did that premiered, I think, on Hulu or FX or Disney or something. That's terrific. That I forget what that's called, Killer of Killers. And then he followed it up with this big screen thing. Oh, and he also did the one that everyone liked from like 2 or 3 years ago, Prey. Right.
Really good.
I think maybe the animated one might be the best of the 3, but this Predator Badlands just works again as a almost perfect B movie for me. Just surprising, very, very funny, great characters, visual sight gags in the second half of this movie that were unequaled, and I went and saw this twice in the theater. Predator Badlands, it's a sleeper hit. I know people complain about it and say, oh, they Disneyfied, everything's been Disneyfied. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. But I hate that stupid Grogu show, and I still like this, so I don't think this is completely Disney. And then one more that I saw at the Chicago International Film Festival, and I hope that we can bring it to our festival, a film called Short Summer, which is just a beautiful, I don't even know what country it's from, it feels Eastern European, a beautiful sort of slow cinema thing with these kids staying at a farm during the length of one summer, and the kind of adventures they get into, which are not really that adventurous, but it's still just a movie that just brings you into a world and keeps you there and you never want to leave. So that's my top 10.
One of my favorite things about film festivals is to find a movie you've heard literally nothing about.
Yep.
It's so rare in the world we live in to not have some level of awareness of something by just the nature of, you know, social media and marketing and all that, and just find something and be like, holy cow. Right. I want to watch more of that. I just want to say that I saw a few movies from a few years ago this year that I really liked, including soundtrack to a coup d'etat.
Oh, it's great. Oh, my God.
Incredible. I saw Ira Sachs's Passages, which I thought was really great. There's I think a Serbian or Bosnian film called Take Me Somewhere Nice from 2019. That's a really interesting movie. Pacification by the is fantastic. So I saw a few older movies this year. Older meaning, this year. Okay, so my top 10.
Here we go.
Megadoc.
Oh, nice.
The documentary about making of Megalopolis.
Shia LaBeouf is the best part of Megalopolis and the best part of Megadoc.
I found it fascinating stuff. I love a making of movie, and this one, Mike Figgis wrote the score and recorded it himself and played all the instruments. It's a really good score. Number 9, Testament Van Lee. Number 8 is Eddington. Number 7 is Solomon's Story. Number 6 is Marty Supreme. Number 5 is Pee-wee as himself, a great documentary.
Yes.
Mostly because Paul Rubens just goes after the filmmaker, and in doing that reveals so much about himself in a way that any normal documentary couldn't. I just loved it. Number 4, One Battle After Another. Number 3, Novelle Vague, which is about making of Breathless. Number 2, It Was Just an Accident. And number 1, controversial, Train Dreams.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
Did you get to see Train Dreams in a theater, Richard?
No. So I watched Train Dreams the worst way you can watch Train Dreams, which is on a laptop computer.
Get out!
Oh my God! What are you doing?
But I
would see it on 35.
I know. There's no reason why watching a movie that's a little slow on a laptop is going to work, and yet I was captivated. I was deeply moved. I thought it was stunningly beautifully shot, but also just humane and human. And, I've been away from my family for a few months making this show. And Train Dreams is about a guy who has to leave his family to support them. Not that I'm necessarily supporting my family. My wife does better than I do. But, I still am doing what I want to do. Right. And he has to be away, and he misses things in his life. But he has to do what he has to do. And the film is about that, about a guy who has to go logging and go away for 6 months of the year, and what he misses and how that affects his whole life. And I found it, maybe because it was just something I could relate to really well at this moment, but I thought it was just very moving, and it was executed beautifully. And I think a lot of movies want have the DNA of Terrence Malick, but not that something special, that secret sauce. And I think this film actually has it in its own. It's its own film. It's not a ripoff, but it definitely has a Malick vibe that worked. It worked for me. So number 1 with that.
I watched it twice, and I really liked it. It was just short of my list, but it's true. There are a couple of scenes that I think will stay with me for the rest of my life. When they kill the Chinese guy. Unbelievably staged scene, right? Yeah. And then the scene where he gets to take that drive with the woman who comes to do the geological survey. I loved them getting to connect with each other. Really good. I love it. It's great.
I like the way the bounty hunter scene was staged. I like that.
Yeah.
The bounty hunters.
That's great. That's a great scene.
Where is he?
Yeah.
I saw it on 35 at the Music Box,
so that's probably the way to watch it.
Watch this! All right, Gabe, what's your list?
I'm over choking up the lung, but I've only seen one of all these movies, so I'll go with the same number 1 as Ben and Scott.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I liked it. I want to watch it again and try and see all the things I missed because I was interrupted 20 times in the movie. But
I think you need to see it 6 more times.
Six more times. I saw it once on my couch.
Yeah.
Not like Ben.
But do you remember watching anything else this year that you liked?
I didn't see any of the movies. I don't think I went to the movies.
But like at home?
I didn't watch many movies at all, Ben.
Okay, about me. Well, I thought you watched some Netflix movies every now and then.
Those don't count.
Oh,
they do though.
I
They
agree.
do, though.
I agree with Gabe. They don't count. I'm not trying to watch a Netflix movie. Jesus Christ.